is known as $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com, where you can get the hottest handicappers' best bet or daily package for only $2.
All right, guys, welcome in. Happy Tuesday here. I can't believe it. Welcome to the month of June, June 1st. It is time to talk some NBA playoffs here, powered by WagerTalk.com. And we've got we got 3 games here tonight on the board. We're going to break down all 3 of them, including elimination time, guys. Celtics, Nets. We got Denver, Portland, and some team that wears, it looks like, purple. There might be some gold in there, taking on the Phoenix Suns. And look at this crew here today we have you lined up for a Tuesday. Does it get any better than these 3? Look at this. Ski Profit, all out of purple and gold to wear today in the house, though. Teddy Covers, the Godfather, in the middle, and, of course, Mr. Rob. I'm just going to call him Rob. Too many people say he's got like 3. We call him Rob Vino. Rob Vino is in the house with us here today also, guys. We're going to look to make it as profitable an evening as we can, hopefully giving you guys some insight as to the best way to approach these 3 games. Ski, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about your weekend. How did it go? WNBA in full effect for you. So talk to us about what you got going on at Wager Talk right now.
Yeah, I kind of laid off of the WNBA games over the weekend, but I did go 5-0 in NBA. So I'm seeing the board pretty well right now, and I'm looking to keep it going today.
Absolutely, man. It's the way to do it. All right, Teddy, in addition to you going, I believe you haven't lost a game in the month of June. No, I'm only kidding. You are on an unbelievable run in Major League Baseball, as usual. NBA back in full effect. How was your weekend, and what do you got going on at Wager Talk?
I got to ask you, Joe. I saw you 30 seconds before we went on air, and you were wearing like a tank top.
Yes.
How on earth did you clean up that quickly, dude? That was incredible.
It's like
you just threw a jacket on over it, and it wasn't a tank top.
It's got what you don't see is there's like a phone booth here. We got the whole Superman thing down. It's amazing, man. We go in, I go in a briefcase, I come out, and I clean up. It's unbelievable, Teddy.
That was fast, all I got to say. Because literally, we were like, I used to see him in the camera, like, and he was like, all right. And then 2 seconds later, you see him on air, and the dude's wearing a jacket. I'm running real good. I got to be honest. 13 straight MLB winners. Swept the board all weekend. I won my last 4 in the NBA. 75% NBA run. Across sports, we've been seeing things real clear the last couple of weeks, and real simple. I'm the $2 Tuesday handicapper over at SportsMemo. Today, you get my single best bet in MLB for just $2 tonight over at SportsMemo.com. I am passing for the clients on today's NBA card. This is not a day that anything jumped off the page at me in the association. So a couple of leans, we'll talk about them, but no place for the clients in the association for tonight. There's a couple I'm sniffing on for tomorrow.
There you go, guys. Knowledge is power. It's what we always say here. And I'd stand up, and I'm wearing the whole Wager Talk thong. You don't want to see that, Teddy. Rob Vino, talk to me here, my man. How was your weekend, and what do you got rolling tonight at WagerTalk.com for us?
Well, we could start there. NBA playoffs, top-rated play up and available right now at WagerTalk.com. So you can get an NBA play as we speak. Number 2, how did weekend NBA go? It's been terrific, Joe. Again, I mean, there's a bunch of us just looking at some numbers this morning at Wager Talk across the board that are, if I can pick out a better adjective, I don't know, but basically slaughtering the NBA playoffs right now. 7-1 my last 8 when the playoffs began May 22nd. From that date on, number 1 at Wager Talk in profits made over that period of time in NBA playoffs. So it's been good. I mean, I hate to use the Steve Merrill blow the smoke up your ass machine too much, so I'll cut it right there, and we can get on and talk about some games today.
Can't even see in here. God damn, that was a lot of smoke. Way to go, Vino.
Be proud.
I'm impressed, man. I'm proud of you, man.
Be proud.
It only took us a whole damn season, but we got there. Oh, look at that. Look, we're starting off with an NBA angle of a day, courtesy of our good friend John Ryan. That's right, John Ryan over at sportsmemo.com. Want to thank him again for all his contributions here throughout the season and the playoffs. But he's got an interesting one tonight, guys, with game number 1. It's an angle that says we want to bet on road teams that are revenging a loss. The road team is a double-digit underdog, and the road team suffered a double-digit home loss in the previous game. And if that criteria fits, well, 10-48 straight up, 38-19-1 against the number. That's 67% over the last 5 seasons. Oh, yeah, in the playoffs, 7-2-1, 78%. I don't know how many of you are going to agree with this, but he thinks take the points and the Boston Celtics tonight. That is the NBA angle of the day, a game that opened up at 12.5. I am pretty much seeing 12.5's pretty steady. The total has come down a little bit here. 231.5 is what, has gone up. I'm seeing 234s now. So it has creeped up here as expected. So, Ski, I'll come to you first here, my friend. Nets, Celtics. It just seems like this was under double digits not too long ago. Now we're looking at 12.5. Is it too rich for your blood? What do you think here tonight?
Well, I'm not sure that I agree with the angle just because it doesn't really say anything about the playoffs, but I think I agree with the play. A lot of drama going on lately with Kyrie and stepping on the Celtics logo, et cetera, et cetera. I would say if the Celtics have any kind of pride, which I think they do, I think they showed that they do. They're not going to just roll over like Miami. I think that they'll come out and play a tough game here today. And just combining that with, I heard Brad Stevens say that the way that he was defending them, and when they start getting in scramble mode, they just open up too many better opportunities for Brooklyn. And so they just want to play these guys one-on-one. And I think that is the better way to play the Nets. So big spread, 12.5. I think that they can stay within the margin. For my main play, I would look at the total. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Since the Nets finished game 1, got the rest off, both teams, they've been putting up points in the first half. Boston figured out nice and early. They're not going to even stay in the game with this team if they can't put the ball in the basket. So we're seeing points from either side. And they're averaging 123 the last 3 first halves. I got in at 114.5 on the over. I still like it where it's at right now, and I'm not going to argue about a full game over either.
All right, good stuff there. I can see the angle, Teddy. I mean, Celtics are a little bit sensitive. It's not like, Kevin Garnett ever played for them, and Lord knows he never talked any shit. But talk to me here about how you approach this game tonight. It's a big number. Would you be more apt to lean to the total here or to the side, Teddy?
Well, if I'm playing, I'm laying. And one of the things that the NBA playoffs does is it gets you out of your comfort zone a little bit in terms of point spread. I tend to find that I don't, in the regular season, end up with a lot of double-digit favorites, nor do I in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you damn well better consider them because there aren't that many games to consider. And when you look at that, I mean, I will give the Celtics credit for playing a great game 3, and they did. They played, you can make an argument, they played not quite as well, but nearly as well offensively in game 4. Tatum had another 40 points. We got double-digit efforts from Smart and Fournier. Jabari Parker came in and gave him an interesting contribution, but it didn't matter. They shot 38 of 42 from the free throw line, max intensity. Didn't matter. They're the weaker of the 2 teams. And when you look at this Celtics squad, again, playing without Kemba, playing without Jaylen Brown, playing without Robert Williams, and Williams is downgraded to doubtful for tonight. Kemba downgraded to doubtful for tonight. Doesn't look like either guy's going to go. For a 500 team with everyone healthy, no, Boston season ends tonight. And when I expect, and what you see, just like what happened in Miami, Milwaukee, all right? Miami battled. They fought. They showed some character. And the Bucks went on their run, and that was it. I would be surprised if Boston covers first half tonight. I wouldn't be surprised to see them hang around, make it an interesting game. But when Brooklyn makes their run and goes up doubles, the season's over for Boston. I expect them to play like it. Celtics, not a choice for this better. It's Brooklyn or pass.
Brooklyn or pass for Teddy. Rob Vino, we were pretty profitable this year on this show, all of us here, with the contrarian plays. I can't. There ain't any bigger contrarian play than the Celtics right now. All the money, all the tickets going to Brooklyn. It's 12.5, man. Do we have one last contrarian play in us here, Rob?
Yeah, I think Ski made a 2-word phrase pretty popular on this show, and I would probably go with that. I don't think Boston comes back, and I don't think 12.5 is worth taking, even though it's a huge number, right? I mean, when you have a team on the other side that can get to 127, 130 or better fairly easily, then it's real hard. It makes 12.5 look small at some point, right? The more you can score, the smaller the number gets. So there's a couple things here. Maybe the fundamentals we don't have to really explain. They are what they are. Boston can't defend this team. They have zero rim protection. Since Robert Williams has been out the last 2 games, Tristan Thompson has given you 22 minutes and 30 seconds and 4 fouls last game. Prior to that, in game 3, without Williams, he gave you 30 minutes and 28 seconds. So there's a bulk in a 48-minute game missing there for any rim protection. When Robert Williams played in game 2, they had one of those 2 guys on the floor for almost 42 minutes, which is a big difference than 30. So, when you have 3 guys like Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant that can all get downhill, it's tough to defend. And I want to make this point real quick here, guys, that, we see foul shooting around the playoffs. All 3 of these guys, incredible free throw shooters. How about the numbers they put up? Last game, just the big 3 go 27 of 28 from the free throw line. Game before, 23 of 27. Prior to that, 14 of 14. Prior to that, 25 of 27. Total that up in 4 games. Durant, Harden, Irving, 89 of 96 from the free throw line. They're picking up a little over 22 points a game just on foul shots. So whether you defend them in scramble mode, whether you defend them one-on-one, if you don't have the capability to do so, there's going to be one option is going to be better than the other. But that doesn't make it good. So I think these guys probably create their numbers again. Kemba Walker, his absence, I don't know how meaningful it is, right? I mean, he was 3 of 17 shooting threes in this series. Plus minus, he was minus 15, minus 18, minus 21 the 3 games that he played. So the combo of Romeo Langford and Peyton Pritchard kind of trying to fill his gaps. They've actually put up better numbers last game than Kemba had put up prior to that. I think Brooklyn wants to end it for a couple of reasons. A, the Bucks are already resting. Brooklyn needs to get this thing over with and get a little bit of rest. And Kevin Durant's quote after the, antics that Ski was referring to that happened in Boston Garden, KD's quote was, hopefully we don't have to come back here again. And that team wants no part of going back to Boston and facing those fans. They're done with that place. So for those reasons, I think they win here. If I had to, I would probably lay the points. But while I agree with what the 2 guys ahead of me said, I agree with each of them. They came from different standpoints. I'd probably lean a little more toward what Ski said in a first half over. He pointed out all the numbers. I had him in front of me. I don't have to repeat them because he pointed them out, but they have averaged the last 3 games well over this number of 116. All 3 games went over this number, the last 3. So I would lean that way.
All right. Sounds like you're in love with the Celtics tonight here, Rob. Not really. That's a hell no. Hell no is the 2-word phrase he was referring to. I will say this, though. Favorites 24-14 in these playoffs this year, so it has been profitable to back the favorites. Totals over 220. I believe 16-7 to the over this postseason, 70%. So that's kind of where we find ourselves in that game while we move on to game number 2. What a game this is going to be. Portland taking on the Nuggets. Opens up at 1.5. I'm seeing 2, even 2.5s. Beginning to pop up now in favor of the Denver Nuggets. The total 226, pretty steady across a number of the books here. So, Teddy, let me come to you here. This is a series tied at 2-2. Nuggets going back home. It didn't hit the over last game, but something tells me we might be looking at more points this game. What do you think?
So it really is a fascinating handicap here, because there's a lot of signs that point to the Denver Nuggets. We like Denver off a blowout loss. We like Denver when then Mike Malone calls them out for a lack of effort. We like Denver off a game in which basically after dominating 2 in a row, under 34% shooting, they just couldn't hit open looks. And that was the crux of the game for defeat. Just couldn't hit their shots, which is not a long-term problem for the Nuggets. So there's certainly a number of factors pointing towards Denver. You talked about all the sharp money's coming on Denver, 1.5 at the open. Now it's 2 everywhere. And several of the leading indicator books, the books that cater to professional bettors, are already at 2.5 for this ball game. So we anticipate that the number is more likely to go up before tip-off than to go down. And boy, it feels like Denver's priced cheaply in this bounce-back spot. The problem that I have with the Nuggets in this game is, after watching the first 4 games of this series, I don't think they're the better of these two teams. All right, flat out. I think Denver is the better of these two teams, top to bottom. And the Blazers are coming off a game in which Damian Lillard was 1 of 10 from the floor, and they won by 20. We haven't seen a Lillard game yet, and I wouldn't be shocked if tonight is game time. It just feels that. So I'm not playing. A lot of things, and enough of me pointing toward, enough signs pointing towards Denver that's going to keep me off the Blazers' side. But my gut's telling me Portland here, and I'm not betting against my gut right now.
All right. Portland is the side for Teddy. Interesting enough, Ski, let me come to you. We've seen small favorites in these playoffs pretty much dominate and be very profitable. -5 or less are 16-5 against the number. That's 76% this postseason. So the better teams, at least according to the market, they're getting it done at -5. We're at -2, 2.5 right now. You think the favorite's the way to look here?
Well, what you just said, it makes sense. In the first round, you have it's supposed to be, at least besides the 4 and 5 seed, like a much better team against a lower type team. So I understand why the favorites are cashing early in the playoffs. And Teddy, I agree with most of what you said. I just wanted to ask you, did you say Portland or Denver you think is the better of the two teams?
I think right now the Blazers are the better team.
Okay. So I pretty much agree with everything Teddy said. Like, it feels like it's a Denver spot to bounce back off of that blowout loss. But Denver just has too much firepower. And if they can win like that without Lillard playing well, what are they going to do when he starts knocking down shots? So last game I took Portland. I also took them on the series at +165. Not really a reason for me to get involved in this game. But so like Teddy said, it keeps me off just because I think it's a Denver spot. But I wouldn't put my money on Denver. It would be Portland for me. I think they can win this game, and I definitely think they win the series.
All right, interesting angle there, Rob Vino. Do you think Portland is the better team in this series? And we'll look at that price side. I'm going to want to get your thoughts, all three of you, on that. But talk to me here, Rob. Are we seeing the better team going to walk away with the victory tonight?
Well, let's start here. Ski was allowed to ask Teddy a question after he analyzed. So I'm going to take my turn and ask Ski a question after he just analyzed. Which team has the most firepower, Ski?
Yeah, he misspoke. We know what he meant. Portland.
I meant the Blazers. If I didn't say that, I meant the Blazers.
Portland has the most firepower. There we go.
Don't let him beat you up, Ski. I got you, man. I got you.
Before I click a button here to make a bet, I want to clarify Ski's with me here. For somebody who's got a series ticket on Portland, Joe, I think they're the better team as well. So all three of us are in agreement there. But what Teddy pointed out right at the beginning is where I land on this game. Mike Malone was, I don't want to call him livid, but he does get a little bit animated when he's angry. And in that post game, he was angry. He was disappointed in the fact that his team played what he called soft, that they had no fight, that they took things for granted. Michael Porter Jr. was, again, roaming around with no rhyme or reason. Nikola Jokic didn't respond real well to getting bumped a little bit in that game. And, the bench, in particular, Austin Rivers, who showed up with 4 clutch threes in the last 6 minutes of the prior game, generally speaking, on the road, those role players don't show up like that. Those guys show up at home in a playoff series. And in game 4, Denver's guys didn't show up. That bench was miserable of the role players for this team. So I take it a step further here. I have to feel that if Denver doesn't come out ignited by their coach's comments, Nikola Jokic has made a couple as well, and at least give you a good first half here. They're -1 first half. I think they come out a little bit in front of the home crowd, a little bit energized, and they've won 3 of the 4 first halves. Prior to last game, they had won all 3 of the first halves. So even in the game they lost here in Denver, they won the first half 62-59. So I think that first half Denver at that short price is probably a really good way to go. I would fear to play against Portland full game. For Denver guys, real quick here too, game 6 looks like the game when Will Barton comes back, which will boost their offensive capabilities quite a bit at that point in time. If you're Portland, you don't really want to stick around and try and play 2 games when Denver has even more firepower. I don't know that even enters their minds, but it certainly enters mine. I think Denver first half here -1 tonight is probably the best way to go.
Love that. All right, expecting Denver to come out. Teddy, let me send it back to you quick here. Is there any sort of correlation with tonight's winner and a series bet possibly? We're seeing Portland at -140, Denver at +120 for a series price at this point. Any correlation between tonight's winner and a possible series bet?
There's an enormous correlation between tonight's winner and a possible series bet. If you like the Blazers tonight, you like them at -140 to win the series. If you like the Nuggets tonight, you like them at the plus price to win the series. But note what the markets are telling us here. All right. This series is tied at 2-2. Denver gets 2 home games, including a potential game 7 at home. And the Blazers are favored. The markets are telling you that Portland's the better of these 2 teams. And they've done it point spread wise as well. What's the spread in Portland? Blazers laying 4.5. What's the spread in Denver? Nuggets laying 1.5. The marketplace is telling us that Portland is the better of these 2 teams. We'll see if that shows on the floor tonight.
So to recap, there is a correlation, and I'm only screwing with you. All right, there we go. We got game number 2 tonight. We're going to move on, of course, to the game of the evening, a game in which this is going to be interesting here, guys. It is tied up at 2. It's Lakers versus the Suns. We've seen a whole lot of Suns love come their way. Opened up at 4.5. We are now looking at 5s. 5.5 popped up here or there too as well earlier today. The total 209.5. I'm seeing 208s, a couple of 208.5s also. So Rob Vino, I'm going to come to you here. You want to talk about a roller coaster of emotions here, guys. Just after game 3, to put it in perspective here, you were looking at the series price for the Lakers after they beat a hobbled Chris Paul and company. It's somewhere around -900 in some places. They lose game 4, and now they're +150. You want to talk about a roller coaster from -900 to +150 there, Rob. My word. Talk to me here about this game tonight, though. If no Anthony Davis, and doubtful is doubtful, where are you going to go in this, man? Do you trust Phoenix to get it done at home in game 5?
This is probably, for me, Joe, the toughest game of the night. These injuries, it's crazy how these injuries are turning around games and series in particular. Utah opens a series without Donovan Mitchell. They lose straight up. Donovan Mitchell comes back. They don't just win 3 straight up. They cover all 3. Joel Embiid last night, Philly looks well on their way to a 4-game sweep. He gets hurt. Boom, Philadelphia can't beat Washington. And then you have this here, right? LA looked like they were on their way to an easy series win. All of a sudden, Anthony Davis gets hurt, and Chris Paul miraculously looks like Chris Paul again. And you have everybody jumping ship and switching to Phoenix. Sidewise, it's very difficult for me. I don't doubt Phoenix's tenacity, Phoenix's toughness, any of that at all. The way I looked at this game, Joe, right off the bat was, if I sit here and I watch these games and I dread the thought of the Lakers half-court offense without Anthony Davis, then certainly Frank Vogel has to. To me, for LA to be successful tonight, pace has to be picked up a little bit. And they've shot beyond terrible in this series. I mean, you can't shoot any worse than the Lakers have shot 4 games straight from the perimeter. Kyle Kuzma, one guy in particular, 7 of 29 from the field, 24%, 3 of 16 from 3, less than 19% for a series. It would be a good time to have Brandon Ingram back in scoring points for this team and ship Kuzma to the Pelicans. That being said, the way to get to Phoenix is probably try and get yourself some easy points. I just don't know where they're going half court tonight against Phoenix's defense. And if the pace picks up a little bit, 207.5 seems like an overcorrection in this total. And I really want to play it over. But I'm scared to death that Los Angeles, after 4 games, still won't shoot it well enough. The entrance of Marc Gasol into this game and probably Horton Tucker will be in this game, maybe brings a little more offense and a little less defense to the floor. So maybe I still get there. But like I say, I'm torn a little bit. I think over 207, if I'm going to play it all, or 207.5, that's going to be the way I go.
You're right, right. I mean, it's amazing how little urgency the pace has come in this game between these two teams. I mean, we're talking about games under 200. 2 games of this series already under 200. Kind of unheard of here, Teddy, in this NBA. But that's what we're facing tonight. How do you go about this game? How much do you factor in? How much is Anthony Davis worth? Because the market's telling us from a series perspective, it was minus 900 with him. Now that's plus 150 without him. It's crazy.
So let's start with this. In the last 10 minutes, maybe not even, there's been a lot of money coming in on the Lakers. Sneaky money coming in on the Lakers. Sharp money coming in on the Lakers. There's a first 4.5 popping up at a leading indicator book. Other leading indicator books now have Lakers at 5 with juice. All the 5.5s that were popping up, they all just got taken out. So somebody with the deep pockets just made a lot of big bets on LA. Let's start there. Secondly, every quote from Anthony Davis says, I'm playing this game. All right. Vogel said, no, maybe. The markets are saying maybe. You look at AD's quotes, AD's like, I don't care. I'll suck it up. They need me. I'm going to be in this game. I would not be shocked to see Anthony Davis suit up today in a game of, not that game 5 is game 7, but game 5 is game 7, in the sense of you lose game 5, you have the real uphill battle. Game 7, obviously you lose it, you go home. But the teams that win game 5 in a 2-2 series end up winning that series, 80, 90% of the time. So it's that level of importance for the Lakers. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Anthony Davis plays. If he doesn't play, what happens to Phoenix? We don't get AD tonight. That concerns me. For sure, about the Suns this evening. And as we were talking about in these, not in the series that aren't competitive, but the 2-2 series, I need a good reason to lay points in these games. My experience, and again, I've been doing this for a long time, and my experience is that in the tight series, the tight competitive series, the home court edge dissipates as the series progresses. And in general, Game 5, I want to be taking points, not laying them. Game 6, I want to be taking points, not laying them. In general, we'll talk about this game again when it comes to best bet time.
Ski, will you stop betting on the Lakers and moving the line, please? I saw what you were doing when Teddy was getting ready there. You screwed us all up, all right? Lay off the bets here for now until after the show. Listen, anybody that's followed LeBron, anybody that's tried to fade LeBron in game situations like this, back against the wall, it's LeBron versus the world. They filed bankruptcy shortly afterwards, guys, because LeBron in this kind of situation, backing him has been the way to go over the years, Ski. So I hesitant to ask this question, but I'm going to guess you're backing LeBron with his back against the wall with pretty much what's he got to lose at this point?
It's funny, Joe. I know you're joking, but you're absolutely right. I'm over here on the side pulling up the Lakers on my screen. It's a lot of things I look at in this game. For one, if Anthony Davis does play, hey, Phoenix is going to be really out of luck because they don't have anything for Anthony Davis. I mean, if he's with the grade 1 sprain, it's not like he's losing that much strength. It's not like he's losing motion. It's just that it's going to hurt for him to play. So I don't think he'll play because he'll be a lot probably better if they hold him out this game. But if he does play, I think he'll be effective. Now, I'll say, regardless if Anthony Davis plays or not, I like the Lakers. I think it's a big LeBron game. You look at LeBron and Crowder, how they were getting into it and the momentum shift. The Lakers fought back. I mean, when Anthony Davis went down, they weren't expecting to play that game without him. It's like they had to go on the fly and just kind of just play with what they had at that moment. Now, they've had time to prepare. If we're going to have Anthony Davis, we're going to play like this. If we're not going to have him, we're going to play like this. So it's going to start on the defensive end for the Lakers. We know they're number one, and they can hold the Phoenix team down. So LeBron, the numbers that you mentioned, Joe, I read them last time after Lakers lost game 1. I'll read them again here. If you want to look at his entire playoff career, after losing a game in rounds 1 through 3, 40-12 straight up, 76.9%, 34, 16-2 against the spread, 68%, 68% for LeBron, bouncing back after a playoff loss. If you want to look at since 2012, after a playoff loss, rounds 1 through 3, 20-2 straight up, 90.9%, 15-5-2 against the spread. So you want to bet against LeBron, like you said, go burn your money, Joe. I'm going to be banking on him to hold this team and rally the team over whoever the Phoenix Suns has to offer. Chris Paul still banged up. Devin Booker shook. He shot, 18 for 50 the last 3 games. If they throw a double team or any kind of defense at him, he's not prepared. You see videos with him off season, like running from double team, saying he gets it all year. Like, he's not ready. That's how I feel. And the guys on the Lakers squad are ready. A lot of guys here won this championship last year. They'll come out and play fired up. So I like the Lakers plus the points. I think they win the game outright with or without Anthony Davis.
All right, so let me ask you a stupid question here, Teddy. I'll come back to you. If I'm confident that he's going to play or not play, but regardless, I'm confident with the Lakers. Plus 180, what are we looking at money line for the Lakers here to get the job done in a game 5?
Oh, I mean, for the series, the Lakers are only in the plus 130 range, which tells us that the markets still think the Lakers are very, very live to win the series. We start looking at the money line for tonight's screen, checking out the WagerTalk live odds screen. Lakers in that plus 170 to plus 180 range. And as with any of these, Joe, the single most important advice we can give on any show, shop around for the best number. If you want the Lakers, don't take plus 170, take plus 180 so you get the proper price when you get paid.
Yep, absolutely. All right, good stuff there, guys. 3 games here tonight, 3 big important games here in the association. When we put them all together, we're going to come up with a best bet from each of these gentlemen. But I do want to remind you, of course, Teddy is $2 Tuesday at sportsmemo.com. So his best bet up and available at sportsmemo.com right now. Just $2. You can also hit Ski and hit Rob Vino right now at WagerTalk.com as they are locked and loaded, ready to go. Rob's big best bet tonight up on his page at WagerTalk. Ski locked and loaded, getting ready to back the Phoenix Suns here in some – no, I'm only kidding. He ain't even going that way. So we'll go ahead, Ski. We'll start the clock. We'll throw 60 seconds on. How many times can you say take the Lakers in 60 seconds? Go ahead, my man. Where are you going tonight? Best bet.
Don't tempt me, Joe. I'm going to talk about the Lakers now. I'll talk about it a little bit. I'll tell you some other ways I look to play the game. I know a lot of people want to play LeBron. I'm not mad at his over 27.5 points, but he only averages 25.5 for the year. If I'm going to play on LeBron, I probably would do triple-double. Every game he's had a triple-double this year, the Lakers win, and that's kind of how we're feeling here. If Anthony Davis doesn't play, a lot more workload on his shoulders. And if he does play, you don't really want the 27.5 points. So I like the triple-double. Last I saw was plus 480. And I think Kuzma, I think his points are a good look, and I think Drummond's rebounds are a good look, both if Anthony Davis are out. For my best bet, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All the guys agree with me. I like hearing that. I got a better number than what's being offered right now, but I still like it. They average 123 points the last 3 first halves. I like the Nets and the Celtics over 116.5 first half.
Ooh, I like that. All right, very nice. Liking the points there. All right, Teddy. Talk to us, my man. 3 games here tonight. You weren't crazy about any of them, really, but if you were leaning one way, where are you going to go here tonight?
Yeah, I do not have a service selection for this evening, so this is as strong an opinion as I have for tonight. And both Ski and Joe talked about the numbers for LeBron James off a playoff loss. At the start of the postseason, I did this whole thing about Chris Paul and how poor his playoff numbers were. And just to recap, Chris Paul in games 5, 6, and 7, the games that matter in the postseason, career, he's about 33% ATS. Significant money loser, team after team, franchise after franchise, year after year. These aren't the games that Chris Paul steps up. So we've got one guy on the one side with a history of not stepping up. We have another guy named LeBron on the other side with a pretty big history of stepping up. And I'm catching 5 points, and AD still might play? Yeah, it's Lakers. Lakers are past for this better. And that's the way we look for today's best bet. I'll cede my 3 seconds to you.
Ooh, I like that. Very nice. All right. Good stuff. All right, Vino, your turn, my man. Talk to us here of these 3 games. Which way are you looking here tonight?
Yeah, and real quick, Teddy pointed out that the Laker line has moved, and when I was talking about potentially looking at the total, it was 207.5, which is now 209.5. So as we've done this show, the total is going up 2 points, which would lead you to believe that maybe Anthony Davis is going to give it a go here this evening in that game. I'm going to go back to what I talked about earlier, Joe. I like Denver first half -1 point. I think they can win the first half by a basket. It's been called out by their coach. They've got pretty good leadership on that team in the form of Jokic. I think that the role players, again, at home, certainly will do a better job here when the second quarter rotations come in. Portland may win this game. They did the same thing in game 1, trailed at the half, but came up with a huge third quarter and then beat Denver in the fourth quarter. I could see that scenario. But for me, situationally, I just think this sets up as Denver first half -1. So that's the way I'm going to look for my best bet. And I'll cede 4 seconds to you.
Oh, all right. 4 seconds. And I'm just going to cede it right back to WagerTalk.com, guys, where Ski's best bets as well as Rob's are ready to go. Don't forget, not only at WagerTalk.com, but also SportsMemo.com is where you can get Teddy and his best bet today. $2 right now at SportsMemo.com, guys. And don't forget, $9 Mondays also at WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. But go get his best bet for $2. You can't go wrong here, guys. On an unbelievable run in the MLB. Get on it. Make it a profitable Tuesday night, guys. No reason not to. Want to thank our good friend John Ryan as we recap this. He is the only one who went contrarian here after an entire season of Cash and Tickets contrarian. Only one guy, our good friend John Ryan, taking the 12.5 with the Celtics here tonight. Skido, Celtics Nets, give him the first half. Expect points tonight, 116.5. Teddy says, I'm going. Give me LeBron. Give me the 5 points. I got no problem taking it. And Rob Vino expects a big effort from the Nuggets in the first half at a pretty cheap price there. Lay the 1, Nuggets first half, guys. It should be a very fun night. Loaded card in the MLB. You got, obviously, these 3 games in the association. A lot of ways to make it a profitable evening, guys. Head over to WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com and get these guys' best bets. And on behalf of Ski, Teddy Covers, and Rob Vino, guys, hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. We'll be back again tomorrow with a lot of the same faces here as we get you ready for yet another night in the association. Playoff basketball, nothing like it. Good luck, guys. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.